All right, guys, we are here with a very special guest. I'm very excited about this. I've been a fan of this guy for quite a bit now. We got Stat Guy Greg from the Cheap Heat podcast. Greg, what's going on, man? Thanks for joining us.
No, thanks for having me, man. I was excited to even get the invite because, you know, I'm slowly creeping back into the action figure game, like collecting, not even really collecting, just like buying. I'm at the like buying and playing with stage right now.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
Nothing wrong with that at all.
These are not mint on card. They're gonna get scratched up. They're gonna get played with. But I'm just creeping back in. So just to even get the invite to be here, I saw you guys had Fig Heel a little while ago on the show, and like I see your collections in the back, and I'm just like, I'm in the wrong place to be honest.
No,
I do not belong here, but I'm happy to be here.
You guys, I was listening a couple weeks back when you guys did the Brody Lee tribute show on Cheap Heat, and you guys were talking a lot about LJNs. Did you dive into the LJNs yet, or?
I not yet. I had them when I was younger, but even that was like still a modest collection because they were sort of passed down from my older brother. So it was like a George Steele, and you know, there was a Mr. Fuji one, and I think we had a Randy Savage one. I remember those vividly. Yeah. But what I didn't like about the LJNs and what I love about like these more modern figures is that like they were stuck in one pose, and like that was all you could do. They had no articulation. It was sort of like a statue. So even Hasbro, when you got the posables and like the action, like I was hooked on the articulation after that.
Yeah, when I was a kid, when I'm a little younger, I didn't grow up with LJNs. I have a couple in my collection now just because the nostalgia, you know, I love the old school stuff. So I have a Macho Man, and then I have the giant Hulk Hogan. And I'm like, those are the two you need if you're gonna start. You got to have Macho and Hogan. But the Hasbros were awesome, but I love the WCW Galoobs too, and like the guys that got the biggest push. And like my kid, as a kid, Fig Fed was the guys that it was easiest to do the moves with. So it was like Luger was like flexed, so he could do like clotheslines and stuff like that. So, but it's just funny.
I grew up with LJN, but I actually like the Remcos better, like for that reason. Like you can move them. You know, but they didn't have the big names, of course. Like the bigger names they had was Flair and LOD. But after that, it was like, okay, who are these guys? You know, articulation is key.
Yeah. So wait, how old is everybody? Because I'm 35. So like I just caught like the tail end of LJNs, but I was like right at the perfect age group for the Hasbros and everything that came after that.
Same here. I'm 38. So.
38, okay, yeah. So
and then I'm 42, so I caught the beginning. Like I saw the Hogan versus Iron Sheik match was what hooked me into wrestling, was watching that match.
What got you into wrestling, Greg? What was like your first memory of being of just seeing wrestling and being like, oh my God, this is awesome. I need to be a fan of this.
So yeah, it was definitely like my older brother, because like I said, he had the action figures, and then I inherited those somehow, or maybe just like he got tired of them and they were around, so like they felt like they were mine. And it was the same thing. Like my earliest memory was and I don't know when I saw this match, because I'm 35, so I was born in 85, and then Hogan Andre was 87. So there's no way that I could remember it live, but I do know that my cousin had the tape. And me and my brother would always like watch the tape with our cousin. And so that was the first match that I remember seeing. I don't even know if it was the first match that I really actually saw, but it's the one I remember seeing first. And like that event, like the whole thing with like the Bulldogs and the Hart Foundation and Lord Littlebrook and King Kong Bundy and all that, and Adrian Adonis and getting his hair cut and everything. Like I just remember that whole event as like the thing that hooked me on wrestling. And then Saturday Night's Main Events all the time coming on in place of SNL. Like, you know, we had to watch those. And just a lot of the early stuff too, like, you know, SummerSlam 92. I remember Bret Hart SummerSlam 91. You know, the barbershop window, I remember like that being a big deal.
Yeah.
Just all that, like the iconic early stuff I remember from hooking me, like, and keeping me like latched onto wrestling.
Now, Bret's your favorite of all time, right?
Yeah.
I've seen you post about that on Instagram and stuff, and seen you go back and forth with Sheena from the Chick Foley show with that. What drew you to Brett? Was it like the neon pink? Was it just like the greasy hair, like the sunglasses? What? Because I was a huge Brett fan when I was a kid too. But I can't tell you like what brought. Like I don't know what exactly drew me to him, but I'm curious what drew you to him.
I feel like a lot of people who love Brett don't know why we first loved Brett, but we just really rocked with him. And even with like the neon pink and the sunglasses, I think everybody wanted the sunglasses. I wanted the sunglasses.
Hell yeah.
I think everybody wanted the sunglasses. So that is easily one of the early hooks. But just like the in-ring stuff was so good and it was so realistic. And even like, you know, when you're a kid and you watch wrestling and you love wrestling, there people are trying to tell you that it's fake, but then you watch a Bret Hart match and it's hard to feel like it's fake because like the working punches are so good.
Mm-hmm.
The working kicks are so good. You know, and then on the receiving end, he looks like he's just getting beat to the brink of death and then he pulls it out and it's just easy to root for a guy like that. So I think that's what hooked me especially. And then the more I got into it and as I got older and like you watch for other finer details, to me, I realized that like we're dealing with a master here because like anybody he has a match with at any skill level, he's giving them 4 stars. It doesn't matter if it's Tom McGee or if it's another master at work like a Stone Cold or somebody like that. He's giving them 4 stars. It doesn't matter if it's Raw superstars. He's pulling out the best match that anybody's ever seen with anybody you could put him in the ring with.
Absolutely. And just going back to you talking about the sunglasses, I remember being at a house show. It was either a house show or wrestling challenge or something when I was a kid. And my dad bought me the glasses that obviously I didn't get them from him, but I got the glasses from like the souvenir stand. I remember just feeling so cool walking around the concourse with them. I wish I still had them. But
was it the silver ones or was it the pink ones?
No, it was the pink ones. It was the pink ones.
Man.
Yeah. Iconic, man.
Yeah. Have you now? Like I said, man, I loved Brett when I was a kid. I've soured on him a little bit just because I feel like he's very negative. I met him at Comic-Con a couple years ago and he was just like, it was like not the greatest experience. Like I'm still a huge fan of his work and stuff, but like now these days I'm just kind of like, oh man, like I have the poster behind me, you can see, and stuff like that. But it's just like, man, why you got to be so grumpy?
I never wavered. and never have, never will. And you know how I think about it too is just like, you know, Brett has been through a lot. Like he really has. I think that because you know he lost his brother and to wrestling, and then you know he lost a lot of his friends and peers passed away early because he's still sort of young himself. Like he's old man, obviously.
Yeah.
But he's not like Hank Aaron passed away. He's 86. Brett's not in his 80s. I don't even think he's in his 70s. You know what I mean? And so also the stroke that you know took his life. And even that, I think, you know, once you go through certain things, your lens for life is just different.
Sure.
Like your tolerance for certain things is different.
That's true.
I probably have more tact because, you know, I care. Yeah, but even old people who haven't gone through that, they tell you they hit the age where they just don't care. The world's problems are not their problems anymore. They're on the other side of it. Like they're not gone, but you know, they just I think that you get a lot of that with Brett.
Yeah, I mean, even with like piggybacking on what you're saying, like I mean, he basically got his career taken. Like he didn't get to write off like most of the other wrestlers got to. Like he got kicked in the head and that was the end of his career. You know, all of a sudden, instead of being able to gracefully go out like a lot of guys did.
Freaking Goldberg, man. Freaking Goldberg.
I know. And then they made that damn 2-pack.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like, oh my God.
I want that 2-pack just for the damn belt, but I'm like, I can't do it.
Same, man. Same. Like does this, and then the hair too. Like I don't know why they did that. Where like the hair comes down and just like is there. And I know that's true to his look, but I like some of the early ones was just like sort of slicked back or like out of the way.
Yeah, they can never get it. I feel like Mattel can never get his hair right. It's like it's always they try to do the thing in his face. It just always looks odd. Same thing with the Drew McIntyre elites that are out now.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Greg, how did you become, for our listeners that don't know, maybe they haven't listened to Cheap Heat, which I don't know why they haven't, but how did you become Stat Guy Greg?
It was a pure accident. to be quite honest. I don't know. I shouldn't be there, but I'm not going anywhere until somebody tells me to leave. They're gonna have to drag me out kicking and screaming now. But so I was a cheap Heat listener, just like everybody else. It was Rosenberg and David Shoemaker at the time who host the Masked Man show now, and like they did it. They had been doing it for at least a couple of years at that point, and I was just a fan, like a nerd, like everybody else. So like there was a few episodes. I got into the habit of like I would listen, and then I would hear something, and then I would tweet a correction at one of them, whether it was Rosenberg or Shoemaker. Like I would just tweet the correction to them, but the schedule was sort of sporadic, so I never knew if I was catching it like early or if I was late. But I was hearing it when I was hearing it, and then tweeting it in real time to me, which could have been who knows how many people already did the same thing.
Sure.
And at that point now, I'm just annoying. Like if you're first in line, it's like whatever. But if you're like the sixth or seventh person to like pile on, then you're just annoying. And so in realizing that, me and Rosenberg have a mutual friend, Cypher Sounds, who he does the Juan Ep is Dead podcast with. And I told Cypher, like, this is my idea. Like, let me come in, let me listen, let me just be there, Tony Reali. Like, I sit there, I don't say anything, I listen, and then at the end, I correct them with the stats, because, you know, by the time they're done, their social media is probably blowing up with 10 or 12 people that are already bombarding them with it, and then it gets annoying. But then if I'm there, I can catch it and correct it in real time. A, it'll save people the trouble of reaching out to them.
Right.
And then B, if I get it wrong, it'll save them the trouble of being annoyed with people reaching out to them. So it could all come to me, and I could sort of like filter it out and then get to drop a little bit of my nerdy wrestling knowledge too. And Syph famously doesn't watch sports, doesn't care about anything except for music and comedy. And he just thought this was hilarious, that I was like that nerdy about wrestling. And so he pitched it to Rosenberg, and they were already looking for somebody for that type of role. They independently had the thought, and they were just like, come on, just
that's
give
awesome.
it a shot. Let's do a couple episodes and do it.
Now, is all your stuff like in your head, or are you looking it up as you go, or is it you're just like, no, that's not what happened. Boom, here.
So, initially, it was in my head. And then what I found later on was that, like, you know, when you're listening, it's easy to catch the mistakes because you're not really actively participating in the conversation. But then when it became a three-man booth, more of a three-man booth, and then I'm in the conversation, I found that I was making mistakes, or like misspeaking and saying things that I knew that wasn't the case, but just like how rapid fire everything goes. Like I'll say something, and then in my head later I'll be like, no, that wasn't right.
Right.
And then I'd have to go back and like stat myself later. So sometimes I'd be there with the computer pulling it up. But when it was just me sitting in the back, like a lot of it was just in my head from memory.
Yeah. We have somebody on our show who does that for us. We have Kenny, who we just call it Kenny's Corrections.
Kenny's Corrections.
He'll listen to our show on Friday when it comes out, and a couple hours after the show's been out, we get a message from him like, you guys missed this, this, and this. I've already got our latest show came out today, and he already sent me a message with like 3 things that we talked about on this week's episode. That's already like he's calling us out for being wrong on stuff or not knowing stuff. And
it's fun.
It's hilarious.
It's not so fun on the other side of it, but listen, from the stat guy role, I can tell you it is fun to just sort of flex your muscles a little bit.
Yeah, and like you said though, like you're in the heat of the moment, or you're in the middle of the conversation, you're like, oh, what's that guy's name, or this happened, or I can't remember exactly, but I know this. And then to have somebody come back and say, no, you were right, or you were wrong, or this is what actually happened. It's nice that people care that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's sort of crazy too how like that role is important. Like
absolutely,
you would think more sports shows did that, because at the time I think it was just PTI that was doing it. And then I don't know if anybody else like me was such a Tony Reali fan that they just started to do it independently elsewhere. But like I feel like it's a vital role now with a lot of these wrestling podcasts, just somebody to be right there and have the facts.
With your ESPN connections, have you gotten to meet Tony Reali?
I didn't get to meet Tony Reali, but we do follow each other on social media. And I did send him a message and let him know that, like, Listen, man, I completely stole your gimmick. Yo, like
Right.
you are the Buddy Rogers to my Ric Flair, if you could even think of it like that. But like I completely like took it, ran with it, and
Yep.
running with it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You might get a message after this from our boy Kenny that said, "Yeah, you're his inspiration." Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
DJ, go ahead. Fire off a question, man.
What is your, if you can pick one, what would be like your most cherished action figure?
Oh man, it changes, but I mean, I guess these two right here. I'm gonna bring them up.
Oh, you got them ready.
These two right here.
Oh, the Heart
Heart
Foundation.
Yeah, and so the saga behind these two is, I call it a saga because it starts like many, many years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I like you guys, like I had an action figure collection growing up, and I had the LJNs, and then, you know, they moved to Jax for a little while, and I had some Jax figures, the little bendy ones, and then, you know, and after a while, you know, you outgrow it, and then you give them away. But I always came back, right? So I gave away my Jax collection before I went to college. And then I came back because they were making like these deluxe ones that are sort of like the elites, but just like super muscular.
Right.
I don't know why I'm explaining this to you. You guys know this. Your audience knows this. But so the Jax Deluxe ones they were making, and I got a Brett Jax Deluxe one. And then I was just buying them out through college, right? Like I would catch them on eBay. I would see them at Walmart, whatever. I'll buy them. And then I was about to graduate and go to law school. And I was just like, I can't be doing this in law school. So I gave away my collection again to my nieces and nephews. And then a few years ago, I'm like, I have no action figures, no nothing. I would see them and I would just remember them as like a time in my life that was cherished. And then my nephew gave me this because he knew how much I loved Bret Hart, right?
Right.
And I don't know exactly what collection it's from or whatever, but it's a Bret Hart Elite from the 80s, Hart Foundation days, and it came with a tag team championship.
Right.
So I couldn't just have the one championship in the collection. So I went on like a months-long search for this guy.
Right.
And I was like, all right, the collection is complete. It's good. I got the Hart Foundation. They got their tag team championships. I don't need anything else. And then when Mania was in New York, Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins gave the ringside exclusive Brett, to a friend of mine's, Ted, at Wrestling for Sale.
Yep.
And he knew how much I loved Brett. So he just gave it to me like right on the spot. They handed it to him. It went into his right hand, into his left hand, handed it to me, into my right hand. I took it home. And, you know, I was good. Like I said, I was done. I was good. And then you start playing with your action figures and you're like, okay, this is just anachronistic, right? Because this Brett would never team with this Anvil ever, right? And then I saw this man and I was just like, it's perfect. Like pink top, black pants, their names are on the pants, you know, the pinks match. Like they need each other. And I was on like a months-long search for this guy, and then I finally got him. And in that time too, I was just like, you know, they need tag teams to compete with. So I have an Undisputed Era, I have New Day, I have some Daniel Bryan. It was ridiculous how easily as slippery that slope is. But yeah, I'm sort of back.
So the Hart Foundation was your gateway drug.
It was. And now I'm still, because like you guys know, this Anvil comes with a jacket that says Anvil. So now I need the Defining Moments Brett to get the jacket so that they could at least come down with the matching gear with the matching jackets. But, you know, that's down the road though.
And there's a Bulldog out there with that jacket.
There is, yeah.
There's a Pillman. Yes. The Pillman doesn't have a jacket, but the Pillman is he's out there.
Yeah, I don't think there'll ever be an Owen, but I mean.
No. I think we'll get Owen in like another line. I've said this on our show before with like with Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins or Matt Cardona and Brian Myers. They just did a deal with Super 7
I've been seeing those.
Yeah, and I think that's where we'll see like a scaled Owen Hart. That's my not so bold prediction because I feel like a lot of people think that same thing. But
that makes sense.
You still are obviously into today's wrestling. Do you have a favorite between like WWE, NXT, AEW? Is there one that you're like more into watching than the other?
These days, I think like everybody else, it's WWE Friday Night SmackDown for me. Like NXT, I love, but yeah, Roman is doing like the best work ever. He's so good that there are people who will not admit how much they hated him. Probably
exactly
just a year ago.
Right.
You know what I mean? Probably even as early as this time last year. Like there are people who are just like, I always knew it. I booed him as motivation or whatever the case may be. There are people who just will not admit just how much I think they wanted him fired. Like just get him off the screen, out the company. He's Vince's handpicked guy. He's holding people back. Let's just get him out the way.
Yeah.
He's doing incredible work right now.
It's some of the best. The whole story with the Usos and everything. It's just everything that they're doing with that is good. I've said it on our show. The Fiend stuff is so good. But my favorite, honestly, is like NXT right now. I'm every Wednesday. I'm like, I got to put NXT on when I get home, or Thursday morning while I'm working from home. I got to put NXT on to catch up. I just feel like they're doing they have the best women's division, hands down. They're killing it. So, DJ, got anything else for Greg?
Man, we went we kind of went over some of my questions as we were having our conversation here. I wish we could go we got to have you like on the show, maybe have a spot on the show sometime and have a longer conversation, have a roundtable here.
Yeah, maybe as I make a more impressive collection. And
that's right.
I earn my spot, man. I can't sneak in the back door every time. I gotta earn my spot every once in a while.
I got one or two questions, one or two more, if you don't mind, and then a fun one. Do you collect any other type of wrestling stuff? I mean, you mentioned Wrestling for Sale. You slide into his DMs to buy shirts or you do belts or anything else? Is it just right now? Is it just the figures or?
I wouldn't say I do shirts, but like I do have what I've realized is a nice collection of Mark shirts, what I call them. Just like, so I do have a lot. I don't really get into the vintage too much because I feel like that's Rosenberg's lane, and B, I just don't have the money to even pretend to get into the lane. But Wrestling for Sale did post a Bret Hart shirt. It was like the Hitman print all over.
Oh, yeah.
Usually you see it in pink.
Yep.
But he had this one in blue, which I hadn't seen before until a couple of years ago when Rosenberg got it. And I was just like, I've never seen this shirt. I want it, but it's so rare.
Yeah.
And then Wrestling for Sale, actually, a few months ago, he was in contact with Bret's son, and Bret just had like a box of merch. I'm sure it was more than one box, but he just has like piles and piles of merch. And he curated a box of merch for Ted that he sent to Ted. Well, Ted bought it, of course, but he sent it to Ted knowing that Ted would then sell it, and then it would just be like out there. And when Ted got this box of merch, and I saw that among them was this coveted Bret Hart shirt with the Hitman all over print. And I'll send you a picture of it for anybody who hasn't seen it, so you can post it on your socials. I posted it on mine. People need to see this shirt. It's beautiful. But when I saw that, I was just like, I don't care how many hundreds of dollars this shirt costs. I need to have it.
Yeah.
And so I bought it. And this box included a ton of vintage shirts. I think it had like the denim jacket with his face on it. It just had another shirt that I'd never seen before and was gonna buy, but he didn't have it in my size. But it was just like, and then because it came from Bret,
right, that's
directly,
even cooler.
It's like I need this shirt in my collection.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's awesome.
Brand new too, unworn, untouched, just like in a box from I guess when they made it in the early '90s.
That's incredible. That's incredible. We lost DJ.
Uh-oh.
DJ's he's out in the West Coast there, so he's working.
Okay.
So he probably had to jump off we were in the middle of his lunch break, so he probably had to jump off to.
Oh man.
But that's all right. I mean, you can wrap up here. Yeah, dude, the wrestling for sale stuff. I see his stuff all the time, and I'm a huge Ric Flair guy, and I'm like,
yeah, that's
every once
another
in a,
good.
yeah,
I see the jersey back there too.
Yeah, that is a Springfield Thunderbirds, which is a minor league hockey team here, like in Massachusetts, literally right up the road from where I live. And they did a Ric Flair night, and so you got a meet and greet, and then there was a raffle to win that jersey. It's actually signed by him too. And me and my buddies are just hanging out, and my wife heard my name get announced, and she's like, "You just won that!" She's like shaking me. "You just won the jersey. You just won the jersey." And I'm like, "What? Huh?" It was a pretty cool moment. So.
It's an appropriate number too, number 4.
Yeah, exactly. It's a 101. Nobody else has that. So, but yeah, every time I see Ted post something, I'm like, man, one of these days I'm gonna pull the trigger. But I get nervous about the sizes. Like everything runs so different with the '80s stuff and things like that. I get nervous about that stuff, especially dropping that kind of change on something like that. But one of these days, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I'm gonna slide into those DMs and grab something. All right, Greg.
Yeah, action figures are just so accessible too. Like
right.
You can just get an action figure for $20 and
$20. Yeah, exactly. All right. We'll do every interview we do here on the Run In podcast. We do one kind of silly question. These are brought to you by our friends over at Poddex. Check out poddex.com. And if you are a regular listener to our show, we have a discount code of RUN10. If you're a podcaster, you can save 10% on one of their decks of cards that are all stuff to help you with your episodes. So this is like a would you rather question. We bust one of these out every time we do an interview. So would you rather appear as a guest on your favorite TV show or have lifetime backstage passes for any concert you attend?
I'll appear as a guest.
Yeah?
Appear as a guest.
On what show?
I would go on Friday Night SmackDown, on the go-home show to WrestleMania. I would slap Roman Reigns right across the face and then eat a Superman punch, bounce off the ropes into a spear, and then get thrown over the top rope.
It's awesome. You didn't even really have to think about that long.
Yeah, no, that would be it. Because you know what? Backstage all the time, forever is cool too, but like that moment, I would try to make it such a moment.
Right.
I wouldn't even have to worry about going backstage. Like, I'm done. My life's work is done.
We got to see if Rosenberg can make that happen for you since he's on the inside now,
Yeah, word.
All right, man. The Cheap Heat podcast, everybody knows about that. Everybody should know about that.
Exactly. If you don't know, now you know, man.
Exactly. You want to plug your social media and when so I have them in my, you guys in my, like I subscribe on Apple Podcasts. You guys don't necessarily have like a regular schedule though. It's not like every Thursday they come out, right?
You're right. It's towards like the end of the week.
Okay.
So it could be Thursday or Friday, sometimes Saturday. If it gets to be about Saturday and you didn't hear from us, it's likely we took the
week off.
Yeah. It doesn't often happen, but it does happen. But yeah, Thursdays or Fridays usually when we're out by the end of the week before SmackDown. Sometimes we record during SmackDown, and those end up being our Saturday shows. But yeah, towards the end of the week.
Nice. And where can they find you on Twitter, Instagram?
Both socials are the same, at StatGuyGreg on Twitter and Instagram. I think you can see it right there too on my Zoom name. I don't know where it's showing up.
Yeah, to the left, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, it's at StatGuyGreg. So that's what you look for. If you have any issues with anything I said, which people usually do, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram at that handle.
All right, man. This was a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
It was, man. Thanks for having me.